So, usually when I do this sort of character analysis, I focus mostly on the character and the writing and leave any sort of real-life references out. But in the case of Cordelia Chase, it is practically impossible to do this, given what we know about the behind-the-scenes drama of the Buffyverse and the way in which Cordelia was punished as a character, as an extension of showrunner Joss Whedon punishing Charisma Carpenter, the actress who portrayed her. Because of this, Cordelia as a character has a somewhat complicated legacy, as she is a fantastic subversion of the rich mean girl, a deeply layered character with amazing growth, and also a sad reminder of Joss Whedon's actions and those harmed because of them. And while this video is certainly not meant to condemn Whedon over and over, one cannot talk about Cordelia or Charisma without bringing up his role in everything. So join me, lovely nerds, as I examine the initial writing and growth of Cordelia's character, how she evolved past her mean girl persona, her journey on Angel, and the eventual decimation of her character alongside the actress who played her. Cordelia Chase is introduced in the pilot episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's easy to forget that she is actually the first person whom Buffy officially meets in Sunnydale. Not only this, she is also Buffy's very first mirror, the echo of who Buffy was before she became the Slayer.
Cordelia just has a history of trying too hard.
Yeah, what kind of moron would I be making anyway?
I was.
You what?
At my old school.
Despite her seemingly warm introduction, we soon see Cordelia's true colors emerge, as she bullies Willow without provocation and berates Buffy for her perceived downward social spiral. We also see her respond to Xander and Jesse with disdain, and it is clear at this early stage that Cordelia is supposed to be an antagonist for our group of heroes, a human foe to kick against in the hell that is high school. For most of Season 1, Cordelia maintains this antagonistic and nastier edge, attempting to compete with Buffy for male attention, putting down Xander and Willow, and being insensitive towards many of the more traumatic incidents that occur at the high school. Charisma has fun with the character, imbuing her with a sense of comedic timing and knowing not to take her too seriously at this early stage. Episodes like Nightmares and The Puppet Show provide opportunities for our heroes to laugh at her, and as the audience, we initially have little sympathy for her. All of that changes with the episode Out of Mind, Out of Sight, which somehow manages to both emphasize Cordelia's nastier side and show a vulnerable side to her which Buffy herself ends up empathizing with. Through ignored student Marcy, we see just how callous and insensitive Cordelia can be. But when Marcy starts targeting those close to Cordelia, we start to see the layers to her characterization. Her seemingly vapid persona is revealed to mostly be a front, as she is shown to care about her grades, has been observant enough to know that Buffy is the best person to go to for help.
You're always around when all this weird stuff is happening, and I know you're very strong, and you've got all those weapons. I was kind of hoping you were in a gang.
And her speech to Buffy about how alone she truly is feels genuine and self-aware.
You think I'm never lonely because I'm so cute and popular? I can be surrounded by people and be completely alone. It's not like any of them really know me. I don't even know if they like me half the time.
After Buffy saves her, Cordelia shows another rare moment of genuineness when she thanks the Scoobies for helping her, going so far as to point out that they really didn't have to given their history. While she puts up her usual bitchy face when her boyfriend and friends call out her proximity to the Scoobies, from this episode on, Cordelia becomes Scooby adjacent, and there is a definite shift in her dynamic with the group. The Season 1 finale cements Cordelia's place in the gang and also properly introduces her to Buffy's world, as she and Willow discover the murdered bodies of Cordelia's prom date and his friends in one of the most chilling scenes in the show. Thanks to the way the previous episode humanized Cordy, we actually feel her loss right alongside Willow's. By the end of the first season, the show has turned Cordelia from a borderline caricature into a character the audience can actually feel for. As the episode nears its climax, Cordy continues to show the underlying layers to her character, coming to the literal rescue of Willow and Jenny Calendar, driving her car through the school to get them to safety, and joining in the fight against the vampires trying to breach the library.
See how you like it.
At the end of the episode, she is standing with the Scooby Gang and even suggests going to the dance together, showing potential for further characterization, which Season 2 takes and runs with. The general consensus in the Buffyverse fandom is that Cordelia's true growth and best characterization didn't happen until she moved to the spin-off show Angel. But the truth is, Cordelia actually has quite a few really decent arcs during her run on Buffy, and there is a lot of groundwork done with her character. And this all starts in Season 2 of Buffy with the very first episode of the season. When the gang returns to school after summer vacation, Cordelia brings up the battle from the previous season in her usual tactless manner, before being lectured by Willow and Xander about keeping Buffy's status as the Slayer a secret. Showing a surprisingly understanding side, Cordy genuinely agrees to do so.
So, your secret's safe with me.
Later in the episode, she notices Buffy's out-of-character nastiness towards her own friends and bluntly gives the Slayer some advice, showing that on some level she does care about Buffy and the Scoobies, at least enough to recognize that their friendship is genuine. And, perhaps driven by her own lack of deeper connections, she springs into action when the friendship is seemingly threatened. What is also interesting is that once Cordelia finds out about the supernatural world and how Buffy and the gang fight the forces of darkness, she seems consistently drawn towards helping them. We see her participating in research and weapons preparation as early as the episode School Hard, and she seems to continually make herself available to the Scoobies, despite her ongoing volatile relationship with them.
Come on, Cordelia. You want to be a member of the Scooby Gang, you gotta be willing to be inconvenienced every now and then.
Oh, right, because I lie awake at night hoping you tweakos will be my best friends.
But this desire to be in the fight, and the way Cordelia seems to derive some sort of meaning from it, is an ongoing theme with her character, and is a particular focal point once she moves to Angel. Season 2 also shows Cordelia growing as a character and breaking out of her vapid mean girl persona from the first season. When she starts a romantic relationship with Xander, she struggles with her popular persona clashing with her genuine feelings for him, and we see this come to a head in the episode Bewitched, Bothered and Bewildered. Cordelia takes a fairly big step at the end of the episode, when she turns her back on her shallow but popular friends and boldly states her intention to be with Xander.
I do what I want to do, and I wear what I want to wear. And you know what? I'll date whoever the hell I want to date. No matter how lame he is.
Her and Xander's relationship, while rocky at times, deepens and strengthens over the season, and it's really the first genuine connection we see Cordelia form. Through her relationship with Xander, we see her grow somewhat closer with Buffy and Willow, sharing more and more genuine moments with all of them, and remaining in the fight through to the end of the season. It's a far cry from the vapid and nasty girl we saw in the first season. And while Cordy definitely maintains her edge and lack of tact, she grows enough to accept and befriend people she had previously looked down on, and to join a cause that provides some meaning in her life. These dual sides to Cordelia continue to be explored in Season 3, which actually dedicates a couple of episodes to her and hands her some compelling arcs. We first see this in the episode Homecoming, where she and Buffy clash as they compete for Homecoming Queen. This competition not only emphasizes how Cordelia is still a mirror for Buffy, but it also reveals a surprising aspect of Cordelia's character. As Cordy and Buffy hide from the villains of the week, and Buffy laments missing the homecoming dance, Cordelia says this.
I don't even get why you care about homecoming when you're doing stuff like this.
It seems like a throwaway line, used mostly to give Buffy her big speech, but it reveals that Cordelia sees meaning in Buffy's calling, and maybe even envies Buffy for having a bigger purpose. By this point in the show's run, plans were already being made for the spin-off series Angel, including the plan to move Cordelia to the sister show. Due to this, the original series needed an organic way to separate Cordy from her newly formed Scooby ties, and did so with two separate storylines, which once again deepened Cordelia's characterization. The first storyline was the Xander-Willow fluke, which saw the two cheat on Cordelia and Oz respectively. While Willow and Oz managed to reconcile, this betrayal is too great for Cordelia to forgive, and she and Xander not only break up, but revert to their original antagonistic dynamic. We see how deeply Cordelia is hurt in the aftermath of the cheating, and how much she struggles to hide this hurt, choosing to turn her back on her tentative bonds with the Scoobies and hiding behind her former mean girl persona. It's a little disheartening to see Cordelia revert to form, but it does come across as more of a defense mechanism than a true regression, especially since she continues to fight alongside the Scoobies and offers support when needed.
Cordelia, could you please drive me home?
Of course.
The second and final storyline Cordelia is given on Buffy is the Fallen Princess storyline, which sets up her initial arc on Angel. We discover that Cordelia's family has lost their money due to her father's tax evasion, and that Cordelia has been left with nothing and is secretly working all her spare hours in order to afford a prom dress. While a riches to rags storyline can be hard to swallow in today's economy, Cordelia's storyline is not just about her family losing their money. They have literally lost everything, including their home.
I'm broke. I can't go to any of the colleges that accepted me, and I can't stay home because we no longer have one.
Not only has Cordelia lost her bright future, she has lost her safety net and the security of her house and family. She is cast completely adrift with seemingly nothing to look forward to, and it is still quite a sympathetic storyline despite its somewhat dated feel. Cordelia's character is wrapped up on Buffy in the final few episodes of Season 3. As she and Xander manage to have a beautiful moment of closure during the prom,
As much as I hate to admit it, I haven't finished paying for it yet.
Well, somebody did.
What? Who?
and she joins in the final battle with the rest of the student body as they defend themselves against one final threat. Her arc feels complete, and as she departs for LA, it feels like the right move for her character. As stated before, many fans view Cordy's start on Angel as the true start of her character's growth. And it is easy to see why, as she is given much more focus than she was afforded on Buffy and allowed deeper characterization. However, Angel as a series does do a somewhat soft reboot of her character, adding in unestablished aspects and actually diminishing some of her previous characterization. And this starts with her reintroduction and the apparent career path that she has chosen for herself. When we first re-meet Cordelia and Angel, it is at a lower-end Hollywood party where she proudly asserts to Angel that she is a working actress. While this does turn out to be a lie insofar as her actually working, Cordelia pursuing acting is a thread that follows her character through the remaining seasons. What is odd about this is that, in 3 years on Buffy, Cordelia Chase never once mentions wanting to be an actress or having any kind of romantic ideals about Hollywood. In the Season 2 episode What's My Line, all the students are assigned possible career choices, and Cordelia is assigned
Personal shopper or motivational speaker.
both of which she seems fairly happy with. And she applied to and was accepted by several prestigious colleges, so it stands to reason that she was planning further study before her family lost their money. But not once does she ever mention wanting to act. Yet for some reason, the decision was made to change Cordy into an aspiring actress, and while she certainly has the personality to match such an ambition, it does seem an odd choice, especially given that this particular aspect adds nothing to her character. She is never seen seriously pursuing acting as a career and seems more caught up in the idealized notion of being famous. The few instances where she does attempt to break into the industry are either played for laughs or used to humiliate and demean her character. Which leads me to the other big change in her character, the demeaning of her intelligence and the way in which Angel as a series seems to forget that, while Cordy did have a somewhat vapid exterior on Buffy, there were several instances which showed that she actually was quite intelligent. In Season 1 of Buffy, she is seen seeking help on an assignment, showing that she cares about her grades. She's shown to be observant and even emotionally intelligent at times, often spotting things the others don't, such as when she is the first to realize why Buffy is taking the Monster of the Week so personally in the episode I Only Have Eyes for You.
Okay, over-identify much?
And in Season 3, we discover that she is also very book smart and that she was accepted to several highly regarded colleges.
Actually, I'm looking forward to it. I do well on standardized tests.
So,
What? I can't have layers?
Yet on Angel, despite being afforded emotional growth and forming deeper and more genuine dynamics than she did on Buffy, Cordelia's intelligence is diminished and even at times made fun of, with Wesley in particular often demeaning her.
Oh, don't even try with the snooty woolly boy. I was top 10% of my class.
What class? Advanced bosoms?
It was a little disheartening to see a character who was initially shown to have hidden intelligence presented in such a manner. With that being said, Angel as a series does initially give Cordelia some very decent growth and characterization, starting with the way she figures out not only how to support herself and Angel, but how to once again help in the world and make a difference by attaching herself to a champion and joining the fight she seems so drawn to. While her initial motivation does seem to be monetary, she is the one who often pushes for the bills to be paid and chastises Angel over his lack of interest in building the business. We can surmise from her time on Buffy and the way she always seemed to gravitate towards this world that her ultimate motivation is being in the fight. She also works wonderfully with Angel's character, and their dynamic and friendship is a highlight of the early seasons. The comedic elements which spring up from their often clashing viewpoints and confusion with one another's actions is balanced by a very deep friendship, in which Cordelia's bluntness and direct manner of dealing with things helps Angel connect with humanity and forces him out of his comfort zone. She also later forms a deep bond with Wesley, their awkward flirtation from season 3 of Buffy turning into a sniping, siblings-esque dynamic with genuine care at the core of it. Over the course of Angel Season 1, we see that Cordelia is also on her own journey of self-discovery and even redemption, as revealed in the episode Room with a View. When an angry ghost tries to run Cordelia out of her new, beautiful apartment, she poignantly confesses to Angel that she believes that her downfall at the end of high school and continuing bad luck since is karma.
For how I was, for everything that I said in high school, just because I could get away with it.
In a show about eternal redemption, it's kind of beautiful that even the characters whose crimes are so much smaller than the protagonists are still searching for their own little piece of redemption. In Cordelia's case, it also shows her growth and how much she has come to regret her past actions and feel remorse over those she hurt. The episode also wonderfully underlines that Cordelia's core character is still intact, as she embraces her inner mean girl in order to drive out the evil spirit, channeling her darker side into something more productive. As the season progresses, Cordelia faces many challenges, the biggest of which are the violent visions from the powers that be, passed on to her by Doyle before his sacrifice in the episode Hero. The visions become a huge part of Cordelia's character and are oddly used to both empower and victimize her. While initially wanting no part in being Angel's new conduit to the powers that be,
You're my link to the powers. No.
I am nobody's link to anybody. I lost control of my entire central nervous system getting that stupid vision.
Cordelia eventually comes to embrace the visions, especially as she more and more feels that they are her main contribution to Team Angel, giving her a sense of meaning and importance. A common trait with Cordelia is that she has always sought to be someone of importance, to stand out and to matter, whether that be in the form of being the queen bee or being the conduit to a higher power. She fears losing this importance if she ever loses the visions, and she ends up enduring great physical pain in order to keep this power, starting at the end of Season 1 when she is cursed with visions that force her to feel the pain of everyone in the world. The experience of feeling the world's collective pain pushes Cordelia to want to help even more, and she ends the first season a much more open and caring character, having been through some hard traumas which have changed her for the better.
We have a lot of evil to fight, a lot of people to help. I just hope Skin and Bones here can figure out what those lawyers raised sometime before that prophecy kicks in and you croak. That was the old me, wasn't it?
I like them both.
Cordelia's strong characterization continues in Season 2, as she and the rest of the team face new challenges, especially once Wolfram and Hart start to use the newly resurrected Darla to turn Angel evil. Angel's growing obsession with Darla becomes a point of contention for both Cordelia and Wesley, as they helplessly watch their friend descend further into darkness. Cordelia also makes new connections this season, starting with Charles Gunn, who was introduced towards the tail end of Season 1. In the episode First Impressions, Cordelia's vision of the week shows that Gunn is in danger, and she instantly assigns herself his protector. Showing her newfound independence and growing bravery, Cordelia stays by Gunn's side during the episode, including following him to a rough party where she ends up saving a girl's life when vampires attack. This episode really illustrates how far Cordelia has come from her days on Buffy, where, while she often joined the fight, she never took point and certainly did not have the resilience to stay by a bleeding woman's side to save her life. Cordelia continues to show her surprisingly observant side during the episode as she reveals to Gunn what the true danger was.
I'm looking at it. It's you, Charles. You're the danger.
This episode starts her and Gunn's friendship, and this bond is built upon, along with her bond with Wesley, when Angel fires the three of them as his obsession with Darla and Wolfram Hart grows. As the three of them are thrown into the unknown, they all find themselves at a crossroad, and this once again emphasizes the way in which Cordelia derives genuine meaning from being in the fight against evil. And she is once again the driving force when she, Wes, and Gunn decide to start their own agency without Angel.
I started looking for an office, for our new agency.
In the wake of Angel's betrayal and the loss of his friendship, we see Cordelia harden and become more isolated, but also grow more in resilience. In the episode The Thin Dead Line, she helps Anne Steele protect the youth refuge against the zombie cops attacking them, helps keep Wes alive after he's shot, and coldly tells off Angel at the end of the episode, pointing out how they've managed to do fine without him and that they don't trust, need, or want him there anymore. She continues this coldness when Angel finally comes crawling back to the team, showing how deeply she was hurt by his betrayal and how she won't easily forgive. A common thread with Cordelia going all the way back to Buffy and the way she turned on Xander and the Scoobies after Xander cheated on her. Unfortunately, given how late in the season Angel returns to the gang, and how little time the writers dedicated to wrapping up the storylines before they charged into the final arc for the season, they ended up diminishing Cordelia's character by having her easily forgive Angel because he buys her new clothes. While there was a throwaway line about Cordy being upset that Angel donated some of her old clothes to Anne's refuge, Cordy forgiving Angel so easily over something so trivial feels out of character and paints her in a somewhat shallow light. The final arc of the season involves the gang traveling to Lorne's home dimension Pylea to rescue Cordelia after she's sucked through a portal. The initial setup feels a little damsel-y for Cordy, especially since she's immediately enslaved and sold when she reaches Pylea. Once her visions are discovered, it's implied that she's put through some violent and violating tests in order to determine whether the visions are real. And while this all leads to the subversion of the Pyleans making her queen, it's an uncomfortable road to get there, and her status as temporary royalty does nothing for her character or characterization. While the Pylea arc does provide some growth for characters like Wes and Angel, it is mostly used to introduce the character of Fred, and Cordelia's small story gets somewhat lost in the overpacked episodes. In retrospect, it feels almost like the beginning of the very long end. Yeah, let's talk about Season 3. While most fans will point to Season 4 as the decimation of Cordelia's character, it actually starts all the way back in Season 3, and this comes down to one big factor: the decision to turn Cordelia into Angel's love interest. While there were fans who did enjoy the more romantic dynamic between the two leads, the fact of the matter is that Cordelia's character was changed in order to make her a more palatable love interest for Angel and more in tune with his characterization. The changing of Cordelia's character first comes with the decision to turn her into a warrior like Angel, which she never was before. While she did go into physical confrontations in prior seasons, she was never a true fighter, with her role being more research and, despite the jokes to the contrary, keeping the business running efficiently, both under Angel's direction and Wesley's. As her character grew over the seasons, she also became the heart of the team and its emotional core. But she was never a physical fighter, and she was never presented as a warrior. Then suddenly in Season 3, she is training with Angel, easily picking up sword fighting skills, punching Angel hard enough to cause true pain, and suddenly being referred to as a champion. It's supposed to be seen as Cordelia taking initiative in learning to physically fight, but it's played completely for the romance and is used to lead to this.
Chirumtion. It's the one nice word I remember from the Pylean Hell dimension.
What's it mean?
It's when two great heroes meet in a field of battle and recognize their mutual fate.
As a result, Cordelia is pushed into a role she doesn't quite fit into, while those around her constantly tell Angel that he has feelings for her and he should be with her, despite the apparent lack of interest on her side. In fact, Cordelia's feelings are barely considered at all during the romantic plot, and even after her previous season's love interest returns, this isn't used to further her character, but to add to Angel's angst over her. With the newly introduced Fred, the returning Darla, and Angel's new son taking up much of the season, Cordelia does get a little lost in the fray. We do eventually get a Cordelia-centered episode about halfway through the season with Birthday, but the episode is a bit of a mixed bag. On her birthday, Cordelia is hit with a vision so powerful it puts her into a coma. While the Angel gang discover that the visions are literally killing Cordy due to the physical toll they're taking on her, Cordelia is sent to an alternate world by the demon Skip, one in which she never re-met Angel in LA and instead ended up becoming a famous actress with her own successful show. Over the course of the episode, Altworld Cordy is plagued with a feeling that she's missing something, which turns out to be the remnants of her last vision. Her search for answers leads her to the alternate versions of Team Angel, who are much worse off without her, especially Angel, who apparently inherited the visions instead of her and has been driven mad by them. Horrified by what has happened in this alt world, Cordelia takes a deal from Skip to become part demon, so she can be strong enough to keep the visions and spare Angel his new fate. The episode is supposed to show Cordelia's growth, demonstrating how she has become a selfless person and how her sudden love for Angel makes her willing to sacrifice part of her humanity for him. But instead, it feels almost like a parody, with Cordelia's alternate life being so extremely good and Team Angel being so extremely worse off without her. The episode tells us nothing new about Cordelia as a character, as we've already seen this selfless side before in many other ways, and we know that she loves the entire Angel gang and that she has made sacrifices for them before. In retrospect of how Cordelia's arc plays out over the rest of the season, this episode ends up feeling less like a character exploration and more like a very elaborate way to set up Cordelia's new powers and move her to where she needs to be for the season finale. Shortly after the episode Birthday, Cordelia is sent on vacation for several episodes, and in her absence, the team suffers through Wesley's betrayal, which sees Angel's enemy kidnap his son, traveling with the infant through a portal to a hell dimension. In the aftermath, Angel violently attacks Wesley, and Fred and Gunn struggle to support their grieving friend while also turning their backs on Wes. It's a huge event for Team Angel, and it feels like they're all waiting for their emotional anchor to come back and help pull them into shape with her bluntness and clear way of looking at things. But this never happens. When Cordelia Chase returns, she is someone else. This was the true departure of our Cordelia, the one who didn't put up with people's brooding, who told it like it was, who called people out on their rubbish. She always looked out for the whole team and knew when to pull them into line. She was hard, yet supportive. And, as she herself says,
I think it, I say it. It's my way.
But the Cordelia who returns is not only much softer and willing to sit by without saying anything, she is also completely Angel-focused, seemingly only caring about him in the aftermath of everything. Her deep friendship with Wes is all but forgotten. She does not even bother to ask about him and seems almost oblivious to his absence. While the Cordelia of the previous seasons would have marched straight over to Wesley's apartment to tell him exactly how much he messed up and force him to face his errors and apologize, this Cordelia seems to have forgotten that she was ever friends with Wesley or that anyone exists outside of Angel. It's jarring and bizarre and makes Cordy feel completely out of character. The assassination of Cordelia's character continues as she develops mysterious glowing powers which are used as de ex machinas several times and culminate in her blindly accepting the return Skip's offer to become a higher being. A move that feels utterly bizarre and leads straight into the complete decimation of her character in the following season. And now is where we have to pause and briefly cover some very not fun stuff. It has long been common knowledge in the Buffyverse fandom that Charisma Carpenter was fired after the 4th season of Angel because she fell pregnant and, according to Joss Whedon, did not inform him in time, thus allegedly forcing him to greatly alter his plans for her character in Season 4. While Charisma has always been upfront about this fact, it was not until more recent years, and with other allegations of abuse against Whedon coming to light, that Charisma has revealed the full extent of what she endured on the set of Angel, which included bullying, unsafe working conditions while pregnant, and direct abuse from Whedon himself. This apparent anger that Whedon felt at Charisma apparently ruining his planned arc is reflected in the writing of the character over the 4th season, making it so that Cordelia's final season on the show was not only her worst, but was eventually revealed to literally be completely out of character for her, leaving the fans and the actress feeling betrayed. Cordelia spends the first few episodes of Season 4 floating uselessly on some higher plane.
God, I am so bored.
The so-called big destiny that was revealed to her at the end of the prior season apparently ended up meaning nothing, and she returns to Earth at the end of the 3rd episode, conveniently struck down with amnesia. This is where the insults to her character begin. Not only does amnesiac Cordelia instantly start making stupid decisions, Team Angel also follows suit, resulting in a million mixed messages and unexplainable situations, and culminating in Cordelia inexplicably deciding to trust the teenage Connor and stay with him instead of at the Hyperion Hotel. Even after Cordelia receives her memories back, she continues to shack up with a teenager, acting more and more out of character, flirting with the boy whom, just a year before, she fed as a baby, and apparently distrusting Team Angel so much that she drags Connor into her latest vision quest, resulting in both of them almost dying. And then we have the cherry on top of this horrendous sundae that is the destruction of Cordelia's character as she seduces and sleeps with Angel's underage son. It is eventually revealed that Cordelia has turned evil, for want of a better expression, and further episodes confirm that it's not even the real Cordelia driving her body anymore. She has been possessed by a higher power who is using Cordelia's body in order to give birth to itself. While this finally offers a concrete explanation for Cordelia's extremely disturbing behavior, the reveal comes so late in the season that by that point, the damage is done. The audience has already been forced to watch the person they believe to be Cordelia Chase make reckless decisions, turn her back on her friends, disregard Angel's feelings and complicated relationship with his son, and then groom, seduce, and manipulate said underage son. By the time we get the reveal that Cordy isn't driving her body, our opinions of her have lowered and our faith in the character is shattered. It can make watching Season 4 a highly unpleasant experience, knowing how badly Charisma was treated and seeing how badly Cordelia as a character is treated on screen. Cordelia ends the season in a coma with no resolution to her so-called arc, and her apparent final act being losing her bodily autonomy to bring a powerful and not particularly good higher being into the world. It really leaves a bad taste in one's mouth. Luckily, we have You're Welcome, Angel's 100th episode, which brings back the true Cordelia Chase and gives her a very fitting send-off. And to think, it almost didn't happen. After firing Charisma between seasons 4 and 5, Joss Whedon apparently had no intention of bringing her back, content to let her character rot away in a coma without thought to the actress who portrayed her for 7 years or the fans who loved her dearly. The showrunner initially asked Sarah Michelle Gellar to reprise her role of Buffy for the 100th episode, and it was only after Sarah declined due to scheduling conflicts that Whedon reached out to Charisma, who agreed to return on one condition: that Whedon did not kill her off. According to Charisma, Whedon agreed to this, but, as we all know, the episode does indeed confirm Cordelia's death. Once again, Whedon showed a complete lack of respect to Charisma and her character, and it's kind of a miracle that the episode ends up treating Cordelia so well and gives her such a fitting send-off. You're Welcome resurrects the old Cordelia, the one we really haven't seen since the end of Season 2. When the powers that be wake her temporarily from her coma, Cordelia sets out to tell Angel off for his recent choices and to set him back on his path.
Angel, do you realize what's happening? You've made a deal with the devil.
Cordy gets to reconnect with her old team. In particular, Wesley and Angel, both of whom she shares extremely warm and genuine scenes with. She brings her old sass and bluntness back and fits right back into the team seamlessly. And she finally gets a proper goodbye and acknowledgement of how much she meant to Angel, the character, and the series as a whole.
Oh. And you're welcome.
Cordelia Chase leaves behind a very complicated legacy. She was one of the original reformed Mean Girls, without whom we wouldn't have characters like Summer Roberts, Blair Waldorf, or Cheryl Blossom. She grew from a one-dimensional antagonist to a well-rounded and entertaining character who was strong enough to become a lead on the spin-off show. Her character underwent amazing growth and development in many respects, and Charisma Carpenter always felt like she was bringing everything she had to the role. However, the complete lack of respect and the mistreatment of Charisma behind the scenes will always taint the character, and in-universe we saw the effects, which means that Cordelia's character never truly got to achieve her full potential, and that she will always be associated with a creator who caused so much damage.